Yeah, it's still a lot of debate about who we are. Cats arguing, we ain't African, we ain't black, we ain't this, we ain't that. Man, truth is, we all of that. Because all of that come from us, you know what I'm saying? It's all about where you gonna fit in. Yeah. Yo, what's your name? You an African, an American, or an Israelite? Black or more, Muhammad or a provocateur? What the business like? Malcolm X, my enemy. Chief Turner, Dr. King, keep a burner. You repeat, look at me, who you see? I'm Barbie when I rap a bar. Every line is a black star. I'm masterful because I understand who these crackers are. Nat Turner's my avatar. My attitude so desolate. I'm a mocking dog, these motherfuckers. Dr. Cotton, these Europeans know what I mean. I'm Farrakhan, never will I run. Robert Williams, nigga with a gun. George and Jonathan Jackson, Dr. Joseph Ben, Dr. Nam, show and prove like Dr. Clark. I'm a boom cause I got the heart. I'm Dubois cause I'm hella smart. I'm Denzel cause I got the part. I'm Bianchi, Sutton Kufu, Mansa Musa, Shaka Zulu. I'm with Mia, I'm with Tulu. If I was Jesus, what would you do? I'm a Negro and I'm colored. I'm your nigga and your brother. Yeah, I kill you, but I love you. Accept your own and reject us. Your name.
What's your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? How long did you think? How did the man take your lump? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you a dumb?
What's your name? It's the Chigaboo, it's the Porsche Monkey, it's the Sambo, it's the Oreo, maybe Revolution is just too much for the handle. I ain't carry no scandal. I ain't scary, got ammo. Harry Tubman with a candle. Time to pick up the mantle. I'm a son to Wop and Queen of Zinga. Nefertiti and Queen Amina. Half she said and the Queen of Sheba. She thinks she God, please believe her. Name is Osada, great escape. Angela Davis, keep safe. With a Mandela, refuse to break. I'm animate, refuse to hate. I see straight through cause the lady day. Been standing loop, I got things to say. With Shirley Chisholm, I paved the way. The homie queen came to slay. Better should buy by me, my Malcolm. Black love is the only outcome. I won't stop until y'all have some. I'm not set, this shit gon' happen. I'm on shoot, come bless the altar. I'm Nibia, I bless Walter. I'm on Lacuna, I drop my daughter. I'm Oya, I cannot falter. I'm the one to give birth to stars. Masterful, how I work these bars. Series B to the earth to Mars. KOS, reversal stars. Show now.
And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What long did you think? How did the man take your lump? What is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you a dumb? As you are right now.
Peace, friend. This is Baba Amin. Do you need your high school diploma but don't have the time, resources, or the patience to study for and pass the GED? What if you could earn your high school diploma while working on a plan for your success with a coach at the same time? If you would invest in a program like that, then hit the link below and enroll in Operation Reconnect today. I've been an educator for over 30 years. And in that time, I've seen countless high school graduates that end up underemployed, unemployed, or miserably employed because they walked out of school with a diploma, but didn't walk out with a plan. That's why 10 years ago, I founded Operation Reconnect. And since then, we've graduated hundreds of people just like you who have gone on to achieve heights that they never thought possible. Just because the school system failed you doesn't mean you have to fail yourself. Don't give up. You have options. Enroll in Operation Reconnect today, and I'll see you at the top. Peace.
The Uhuru Academy overall is an amazing school from the teacher to the students. is a place where kids can build their confidence and learn how to write, read, type, all of that good stuff. We learn our history here. We honor our ancestors, so we learn about who we are and where we come from, and I really enjoy this about this school. And like everybody's pretty much saying, it's a safe space, and we can always be able to feel like we can open up to our classmates and our teachers. So that's what I love.
I love the environment in that they promote not being afraid to ask for help.
Something positive about the whole academy is this is a safe space, and you can be able to say whatever you want to say without being embarrassed. Just like how Amani said, I've been able to sometimes I can be shy talking around people, but y'all taught me not to be shy and everything. This is a very good school. The part that I love about this is when we do ancestor reverence and African history.
I think this is the greatest school I've ever went to because you teach me about my history, and at the other schools they never taught me one thing about my history. They just taught the only black people they talked about at my other schools were like Carter G. Woodson, Martin Luther King, and
Hey, you gotta keep it down.
So you guys helped me learn my true history.
Baby, you got to keep it down. I'm in the show. Uh-oh. We getting ready, y'all. We getting ready. One more, black man, and we on. All right.
Oh, all right.
Them babies in there.
I hear it now.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Here we go again, telling black youth to stop the violence. But when are we going to stop the violence against black youth? This country enslaved black youth for 300 years, Jim Crow black youth for 100 years after that, crack cocaine and mass incarcerated black youth throughout the 80s and 90s, and decided it was okay for police and the neighborhood watch to murder them in the 2000s. Black youth are the most unappreciated group in America because while all of that was going on, black youth fought in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Black youth led the Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement, the Million Man March, and Black Lives Matter. Black youth created the blues, jazz, rock, R&B, gospel, soul, and hip-hop. Where would the NCAA, NBA, MLB, and NFL be without black youth? Incarcerating black youth is so profitable that if they stopped going to jail, it would cripple the economy. Because even when black youth fail, somebody makes some money. I hate to see black youth killing each other, but powerful people go out of their way to make sure we can't teach them why they shouldn't kill each other. See, violence ain't black culture. Violence is American culture. Stop the violence against black youth. Bob, I mean, it's been a minute.
I'm Bob, I mean, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I love that one, man. We might have to dig into that.
Right, man. You know, we love to scream, stop the violence.
Yeah.
But I'm like, let's stop the violence against black youth.
Absolutely.
We want to tell black youth to stop the violence, but we don't want to stop the violence against
the seeds, the seeds that the seeds that nurture violence, that breed violence, that what I'm saying, that's not even physical. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I scream stop the violence too, but when I say stop the violence, I'm talking to us. I'm talking to the society. You know what I'm saying? Stop the violence against our youth. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
What's happening, y'all? What's happening, everybody out there? Hey, welcome to another powerful episode of the Fight the Algorithm podcast. What I'm saying, yo, I am your co-host, Baba. I mean, Oji Woke, and the powerful warrior with me is.
Yeah, Dr. Juichi Bo Money in the building, man, the co-host for Fight the Algorithm, and we fighting the algorithm day in and day out, man. I love it. I'm just so fired up, man, intensified in the fight, and I'm just excited to be in the midst of the fighters, man, the warriors, as we continue to fight, man. Let's go get it.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And welcome to everybody out there on Fight the Algorithm. We do just that, y'all. We fight the algorithm. We talk about topics that impact the black community, and we kind of point out some of the attitudes that we have on autopilot that don't seem to serve us. Attitudes that we kind of have and opinions that we have on autopilot that seem to be more self-destructive than constructive. You know what I'm saying? And we deal with that on Fighting the Algorithm. We also know, and we're aware but particularly those of us who consume mass media, right? That there are agendas in mass media. There always has been, whether it's a capitalistic agenda or a capitalist agenda, whether it's a racist agenda. There are agendas in mass media. There are no accidents, and what we consume is created to influence behavior. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And so on Fight the Algorithm, we challenge some of those behaviors, and we challenge us to think outside of the programming. You know what I'm saying? So that we can come up with viable solutions to what's going on in our community. How was that, man? Was that a good description of what we do around here?
That's powerful. That's a powerful description, man. Great.
Oh, man. So if you're in a discussion, your job is to be like Arik Aru. Shout out Arik Aru. You know what I'm saying? Coming in, leaving comments, say the What's Your Name video is super dope. We need to release that so we can share it, you know. So I'll make sure you get that. You know what I'm saying? You know, we use our music as a tool, man, as a tool, as a blunt force weapon to get the powerful messages out to the masses. You know what I'm saying? So we'll definitely make sure you stay in the loop, Arik Aru, and let you know where that video is available. It's actually available on YouTube, on all platforms. So you can go look up What's Your Name by Bob I Mean, and it's gonna come up. You can go to your stories in Facebook and put in What's Your Name by Bob I Mean. It's gonna come up, right? So we're on every platform with that jam. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Negus Afro Dane Doll. Afro Danidol. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. You know what I'm saying? I know Negus is a powerful title in term within itself. You know what I'm saying? Welcome, and appreciate you commenting, putting the comments in the chat. Y'all like and share the video. Let's spread the word, let's spread the conversation. We're streaming right now on 8 different platforms or 8 different pages. You can go to the Pipeline of Power YouTube page. We're there, right? You can go to the Uhuru Academy YouTube page. We're there. You can go to Facebook to Baba Amin, to the Baba Amin my profile, the Baba Amin profile. You can go to the Uhuru Academy program profile on Facebook. You can go to the Revolutionary Black Film Club page on Facebook and find us there as well. So we out there. You can even go to LinkedIn. Don't worry, your supervisor ain't going LinkedIn and find us on the Baba Amin or Amin Ojuwo LinkedIn profile as well. You know what I'm saying? So we doing what we got to do to get it out there. Y'all do what y'all got to do and share the conversation. Shout out to my brother, Black Power to you, brother Obafemi, Kinsey and LA. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Right there, you know, brother Oba, Black Power to you, author, educator, doing powerful things in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Uhuru Academy family. Make sure you put the link to everything you got going on in the chat. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that's required on the Fight the Algorithm podcast, y'all. If you have a business, make sure you put your business links and contacts in the chat, because if they listening to us talk, they want to buy black. It's just that simple.
And it's Black August, baby. Black Business Month.
Oh man, yes. And you know, definitely Black August. Yeah, Black August resistance to everybody out there that recognize Black August and actually use this as a time to study, as a time for meditation, as a time for cleansing out our systems and reflecting on our powerful history and including the history of Black resistance against oppression. You know, so make sure you're out there studying and getting it in this month, everybody out there. You know what I'm saying? So Black August resistance, you know, Zau, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. But man, we're gonna jump right into it tonight. We're gonna jump right into it tonight. Tonight, we got a very special algorithm to discuss. Right? We have a very special algorithm to examine, right? And that's the Black leadership algorithm. Right? The Black leadership algorithm. Baba, I mean, what do you mean by the Black leadership algorithm? Right? We're talking about that algorithm. And let me preface this by saying, we're not talking about all Black leaders. Matter of fact, we're not talking about any Black leader in particular, though, if we describe your thought and behavior patterns as we talk, well, you know, only the hit dogs holler. You know what I'm saying? So
that only means we bringing it from the subconscious to the conscious.
That's all it means, right? That's all it means, right? I'm talking about the algorithm or the programming, right, in Black leadership, that says be extra careful about what you say so that you don't offend anyone.
Yeah.
Right. The algorithm in Black leadership that says you do not exclusively advocate for Black people, especially once you get beyond a local level. I've even seen it on a local level, though.
Absolutely.
Where Black leadership that represents Black communities won't exclusively advocate for issues that impact Black people.
Yeah.
And if they do, they won't use the verbiage.
There you go.
Right. So that Black leadership algorithm that says it's just good to be at the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Somewhere to the table.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The Black leadership algorithm that says the Black community is something to get away from, not something to invest in.
Yeah.
Right. So the Black leadership algorithm that seems to be reactionary, that seems to only cling to Black issues that are acceptable and non-threatening to their non-Black counterparts.
Yeah.
Right. That algorithm. Yeah. I mean, if y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Let me know in the chat. Look, Obafemi is tagging people. I thought he was naming names.
That's what I thought. I said, oh, he said, oh, I know somebody
was giving us some examples. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Names, y'all.
Right. But if you know what I'm talking about, if you feel what I'm talking about, give me a right on in the chat. Right. If you've witnessed this algorithm, if you witnessed this pattern of programming from Black leaders, like have you ever seen a brother or a sister that's organized in the community and speaking truth to power, that all of a sudden they get elected to a seat and their whole verbiage changes?
Yeah.
Their whole attitude changes. You're right. It seems like their whole philosophy changes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so if we're going to turn our situation around in our community, right?
Yeah.
I feel that this algorithm needs to be rewritten, needs to be scrapped and rewritten and adjusted. Yeah. What's your feeling on the topic, Coach Jay?
No, I love this because this is critical. I think this has been something that has been prevalent in with our people, man, for a long time, that we really need to address in a way that starts from a root, and we try to pull that root up. Absolutely. I think it's something that when you look at how brothers and sisters and people have different origins of how they get in positions where you quote unquote in leadership positions. If we're talking about elected positions or positions where you have some type of authority, or you even in a position where you are a gatekeeper, if you have come into that position by winning the support of the people because you speak in the language of the people, and then you go into that position and that language changes, it shifts, right? Not strategically, but because fear plays in. And this connects to our fear discussion, that we had. Fear plays in because you feel like your opposition, you feel threatened by the opposition on the other side of town. People that are representing other sides of town are saying, hey, now, if you're going to be speaking like this, you're not going to get these resources. You're not going to do this, and we got this against you, and all these various things come into play, and something inside of us, right, starts to shift and say, "Man, I better hold my tongue now." You know what I'm saying? When I'm in this space, I better hold my tongue.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So it puts communities in this place of you may still be thinking about the revolutionary aspects that got you here, right? But now, because the opposition has increased, because now you you being highlighted, now you're under a different microscope, right? It dwindles down that fire that you were utilizing when it was just you and the people, right? And that's something that we gotta examine. Why did that happen, right?
Right. And And you know, it ain't just black leaders, man. It's something that last point you're making about how we kind of flip it up, man. It happens on the job too, right? It happens on the job as well. You know, I've been in rooms where we we talking about how racist the company is, and we're pointing out through data how blacks are the first one hired, last one fired, and not getting the promotions and all that. And we're gonna let them know. I'm gonna let them know. Then they hype the one militant up in the room, and you get the supervisor in there, and we want to talk to you about what's going on here. You know what I'm saying, at the job, and then you look around, and the supervisor like, well, is this how you feel, Jimmy? And Jimmy was right on when he was in there, but now all of a sudden Jimmy like, well, you know, I think everything's really okay. It's not that things are bad. It's just that you know maybe and it could just be a misunderstanding. Like, this dude just leave me after driving and sat there, Joe. This man is, no, we need this, we need that, we need this. And you look up and everybody around you is back doing the back pedal.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe that's the root of some of the fear that some of the so-called black leaders or our black representatives have. We talking this mess in the community. If I get down there with them white folks and I start talking all this mess, y'all not gonna back me up.
All right. Now, hey, this is a real issue, and I've heard people in leadership positions, and people that are in spaces to where now they have a lot more to lose, right? And when you have a lot more to lose, if you feel like you don't have protection of what you feel like you have to lose, and we talk about real issue, like they have family, like we got children, they got children, they got what I'm saying. They got people that they are responsible for. They got, they may have property. All these different aspects come into play when they feel like people have power to take those things away, right? And you feel like you don't have protection for the things that you value, right? Right. So the community that might have been there to help you to rise to it, now you start to change. Your perspective might change. Man, I love you in your spirit. Now this is real. Let's put it out there. In your heart, you mean I really love my people, but my people can't provide the leverage I need in order for me to stay strong in the forefront to fight. And
so
that's
we're talking trying to lead a community that's been rendered economically irrelevant. That have been cordoned off into one corner of a voting block. So it's like everyone knows how black people gonna vote. Right. So it's highly predictable. So if I get in here and I stand up, then would I be, chastised? Now I got a couple of questions, and we understand nuance, right? Like one thing we know that who votes you in, right, and who gets you in can be two different people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Because in order for me to vote you in, somebody got to pay for your campaign, right? And those are the people who get you in.
Yes.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, especially in our community, the corporations that get you in, their goals do not align with the goals of the group that voted you in. So absolutely. A lot, and I'm gonna put this out there because I don't know how many people in our community are aware, that you may have a black face that's representing you, on paper. Yeah. But if your money is not the money that financed that campaign, right? Yep. There's another. This is your phone right here, but he got another phone. He got a burner over here that he got to pick up, right? He got, you can't give him anything else after that vote.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you're gonna run again, this guy over here, he can give you more money and maybe even a bigger check next time.
Yeah.
So we do have the fear factor, but we also have the compromise factor. We have the factor, that said, when I'm trying to represent an impoverished community that can only give, they can give a vote, but can only give so much financially. I have to come find a financial partner.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can find a financial partner that is strong, that feels just as strongly about what we need to do in the community as I do. But the chances of that happening in a lot of cities is slim.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the further you move up the ladder, once you start getting into state politics, national politics, to find an entity that can finance state and national campaigns.
Yeah, we talk about multi-million, and which can get up into hundreds of millions of dollars to run those campaigns. Now it becomes inconceivable in a lot of minds, of people that you would have to ask for, based on what many people are valuing, what we understand at that level. This is important because this is about the algorithm and understanding, that everything that we do matters, right? Every the way we spend our time, energy, and resources matters, even on those levels, right? This is critical because this plays in with the corporate example you provided as well, right? You might be if the argument is we don't have enough, if you're in the company and you say we don't have enough black people in the executive positions, right? And the company say, well, yeah, okay, we're gonna put more people. They actually put more people in corporate positions. Where when the person get in those corporate positions, then now you may have got that complaint, that grievance satisfied, but now you got a different grievance. Now your grievance is, we need a better treatment or better, protocol processes to support it. And now the person that's in position that you wanted in there, now he or she has different pressure.
Yeah. Right. And sometimes you'll find situations where the powers that be will put a black face in position and say, okay, now we can get really racist.
Yes, we can really do it.
Now we don't have to change any policy on the ground because we have a black face in the office.
Yep.
If you study Obama's presidency, for example, and you'll see that the United States made some very aggressive moves globally, especially when it came to Africa and African countries. While Obama was in office, of course, it's not a racist. We have a what?
Black president.
Black president. You saw an uptick of police terrorism while he was in office. Of course, it's not right. America's not racist. Matter of fact, we were calling it a post-racial America. Remember that?
Yeah.
Racism was over.
Yes.
Right. And so sometimes that black faith in a high position is the best shield.
Yes.
Right, for systemic racism. So when you're in that position, are you even are you even a black leader once you get to a certain level? Can you even be considered a black leader?
That's a hell of a question, right? Because if you think about it, putting somebody in leadership at that level is the best opportunities to amplify an algorithm. All right. Just like you just said, like now I can strategically strengthen and amplify that algorithm. If my algorithm, and let's think about it strategically from the other side. I like to put the shoe on the other foot and think about it, because you got to know your enemy. You got to understand what they're thinking. If I want to advance something politically, if I want to advance something economically, I want to put forward the type of media, the type of propaganda that will prevent the most. Prevent the opposition from preventing me from really making that advancement based on what I want to happen. So I put up a facade, I put up a face that will prevent a lot of opposition, right? And one of those things is to put black faces in high places so that I can push forward an agenda, an algorithm that will allow the masses of people to accept it. Right. And that's exactly what you're saying with the Obama play, with what I'm saying, with the way that you utilize that. Now, and the crazy thing about it, when you think about it from an understanding algorithm aspect, I can give you some good stuff in there. Like I can provide you some good, progressive aspects, but I'm not looking if I'm countering black empowerment, I'm not looking at what can happen in a few years. I'm looking at projecting into 20, 30 years down the line with policies, right? So if I use this blackface, I'm gonna implement a policy, I'm gonna implement aspects that's going to set up my sustainability and power for the next 20 to 30 years.
And things that you're probably not going to pay attention to because you're in celebratory mode because one of us is in office. Exactly. So we get a comfort level, a false sense of comfort, and we stop looking and paying attention to the details because the victory for us was having a black face in that position, right?
Yes.
Y'all, this goes back. Yeah, this goes back. I think about the Right Reverend, my favorite Christian preacher, Nat Turner. Right? And how Nat originally was in the good graces of the powers that be around him. And he was actually a pastor that was used and taken from plantation to plantation to preach to enslaved African people, to convince them that everything is going to be okay. Continue to work hard. Continue to work hard. Don't be violent. Don't run away. Just pray. A freedom is going to come. And if it don't come when you're living, it's going to come after you die. And they say that Nat was one of the best. And that was an algorithm. That was a programming that was used with many house slaves or in-house Africans. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to separate you from the group. Yeah. We're going to educate you in this theology. You're going to be one of the few that we teach how to read, but we're going to teach you what you're reading, how to interpret what you're reading. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to tout you to other enslaved Africans. We're going to give you extra clothes. You might get a pair of shoes.
The temporary incentives.
Right. Temporary incentives. You're going to be the model black person. Right. And when they act like they're getting unruly, when they act like they start to say, wait a minute, we are human beings. We do want to fight back. We're going to roll you out as the leader, and you're going to calm them down and tell them that they need to wait for God.
Yeah.
Nat Turner fought that algorithm, when he was denied something that he wanted and punished for wanting it. And he was whipped and tied to a tree. And you know how to, ask OJ, right? Like they remind you who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of our leaders today go through that where they were riding along, agreeing with everything until they overstepped their bounds and got to get put back in their place. Well, then Nat Turner flipped the whole script and said, wait a minute, these scriptures reading different now.
Yeah.
Now he started reading eye for an eye. Tooth for a tooth, life for life. Now he was like, okay, I'm not afraid of heaven, but what's going to give me to heaven is fighting back. And he took that energy and flipped it and launched one of the biggest slave rebellions in the history of the United States. Right. And so he's a great example of a black leader fighting that leadership algorithm. And it's true. There is some risk involved when you step outside of the programming.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you allow the powers that be to put you in position in the first place.
So what I hear, black man, is you're making a case for African-centered education, because what happened inside of Nat Turner was a spark in which a new knowledge was emerged in him, right? Yeah. And it allowed him to change his perspective on what he saw, on what he engaged, right? He was reading, it might have been the same words, but what sparked inside of him. And it might have been an elder that said, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but really this was really going on. See, of course, that them aspects ain't in the story, right? But it might have been an elder that been like,
at the tree next to him, like, how that whip feel.
Yeah, but how that whip feel, you know what I'm saying? When you get through doing all this speaking and sweating, you still got to eat, you know what I'm saying, molded cornbread.
Right.
We not getting it. Look at what happens to me, you know what I'm saying, after you speak. Now they treat me like this, and I've been here, you know what I'm saying? So these inputs, these inputs represent his educational development, his knowledge, his psychological process that got him to now get to a point to where he's looking at the same words, the same language, but it appears differently to his consciousness. Right. This is an educational input, right? That can change when we talking about black leadership. It can change how they perceive their positionality in those positions, in those high places, regardless of what the threats are. If you perceive what is going on in a way that you see yourself differently, right? What Nat Turner decided to do was it can't get no more dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It can't get no more threatening. Opposition is for certain when you decide to take that step. But what he perceived in his consciousness said that he must take this step. So where we are now in this aspect of looking at this algorithm and fighting it is, what is it necessary inside of our Black leadership, right? I say us, I say each one of us, as we lead from wherever we are, in our homes, in the community, in corporations, in business. You know what I'm saying? What is it inside of us as we are fighting the algorithm that would spark a new knowledge that would change our perspective on how bold and courageous we are in pursuing empowerment for our people in the lane that we in?
Yeah, man. Yeah. How do you spark? So we need more leadership institutes, right? We need more powerful. We need more opportunities to develop powerful Black leaders. But you also have to cultivate and invest in leaders that don't have to compromise, especially on a local level, right? And I often also, a lot of times I talk to Black leaders and they say, man, I'm thinking about running for office. And a lot of times I tell them, you're more powerful out here. It don't seem like it.
Yeah.
But you're more powerful out of office than you are inside of the office. Once you get in the office, you're going to be beholden to more than just the Black community.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot, and that holds true a lot of times. Man, I think about W.B. Du Bois. Back in history again. W.B. Du Bois was considered the most intelligent Black man of the 20th century. That's what he was considered. Right. And this is a man who was one of the first Black PhDs in America, right? A prolific scholar, y'all, prolific scholar. Definitely read the Souls of Black Folk and other great writings of W.B. Du Bois. And this is a man who one of the founders of the NAACP, one of the founding members of the NAACP, you know, who would ultimately end up leaving the NAACP, which should have been which should have been a big hint for Black folks, right? And one of really the fathers of the struggle for integration and equal rights for Black people as citizens in the United States. And he really pursued a real hard assimilation type agenda early on in his career.
He did.
Well, Du Bois later on in life gave up on that agenda. Yeah. And a lot of people we don't study enough of the fact that W.B. Du Bois, the champion of the NAACP, the champion of assimilation, right, ultimately decided that none of that was going to work.
Yep.
He embraced socialism and Pan-Africanism, and in his intelligence, he said, I can't be neither one of those here, and moved to Africa.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Right? He moved to Ghana. He fought the algorithm. He switched his programming and he moved to Ghana, right? Yeah. Kind of died in obscurity as far as mainstream goes. By the time, matter of fact, I believe that his transition happened right around the time of the March on Washington when Dr. King was elevated.
Yep.
So now you have Dr. King being elevated and Lyndon B. Johnson inviting him in, signing a civil rights bill, shaking his hand. Was that real freedom, or was that the enemy saying, I'm going to control the narrative?
Yeah.
And you're going to be my puppet.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. King started speaking out against the Vietnam War and saying things he wasn't supposed to say. He fought the algorithm, and the government felt betrayed.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think those are powerful examples, and I bring those up, man. Those two examples of two brothers who were entrenched. And I remember speaking about this. W.E. Du Bois and Dr. King were two of the most entrenched, quote unquote, Black leaders in the concept of assimilation for Black people in America. Nobody had, and it's people, but I'm saying, as public figures, nobody had more stake in the assimilation and integration agenda than these two men. And I'm talking about they had seen it all. They had sat with all white people. I'm talking about they had been exposed to every aspect that would have been the case for integration.
Right.
They had been exposed to every case for it. But even in their lifetime, they came to the conclusion that it was not the best agenda for black people. They came to, nobody had been as entrenched as them.
Nobody.
And they ended up moving to the concept of black empowerment. You know what I'm saying? African, Pan-Africanism. Understanding that our people have to have our own, right? We got to build our own. We got to produce our own. They evolved, and I like to say it like this: they evolved to black empowerment, black power.
Right. And I'm gonna get a slight edge to Du Bois just because in his evolution, he came to the conclusion that I ain't gonna be that here. He moved to Ghana, and he transitioned. He was 95 years old.
Yeah.
Right. And so just give me an example.
You got to be fair to Dr. King. He didn't get a chance.
He didn't get a chance.
Get that far in his evolution.
Man. He didn't. You know what I'm saying? He was assassinated at the age of 39, a young man, right? And then his story, his narrative was taken over, right, by mainstream society. He was reduced to a speech, I Have a Dream, that he gave in 1963, 5 years before his death, right? And you have to study Dr. King to understand everything that Dr. King did. And what he truly stood for. If you just relying on public school and the television to tell you about Dr. King, then you're not even getting close to the full story. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Obi. Say he's in a majority black city, and our leadership is blackface, backed by the powers that be. And I've seen that. Now I've seen that in majority black cities. I've been in majority black cities where black history still ain't taught in school. And if it is taught in schools, it's the watered down version of black history, right? And I haven't seen a leader yet in the city I'm in. And shout out Columbia, South Carolina, but I haven't seen a leader yet that's elected, that stands up and demands a more holistic approach to black history being taught in our schools, or really embracing culturally responsive curriculum in our schools, right? Or really standing up hard for black people, period, outside of the political platform of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And I saw a clip from the Congressional Black Caucus. They were on MSNBC not too long ago, and they were saying, they was talking about the racism of the right wing, right? Right. And I ain't saying they wasn't lying, right? They were talking about the racism of the right wing. And they're trying to, and it was like, so your natural question is, what are they trying to do? Well, just so happen that they're trying to do things that correlate with the Democratic agenda. So these are things we should be concerned with. They taking your vote, because guess what they finna want from you in a little bit?
The vote.
I gotta fire you up. They redistricting and they're taking the vote. Now, there's no lies told. I'm just saying it's funny how we're zeroing in on the vote, right? Another thing that the racism is doing is they said taking black histories out of schools, and they praying that don't nobody say when was black history ever in the school. But we're gonna break that down in a second too. And then he was talking about the infant mortality rate, and abortions being illegal now in many states, and that means that black women babies, or more black babies, are not going to be born, that the infant mortality rate is going to shoot up because of the infant mortality rate that exists in hospitals. Right now, I'm not saying they're telling lies, but they obviously pinpointed issues that align with things that the party said we can deal with. Nobody said reparations.
There you go.
Nobody talked about economic repair. Right. There are several. Nobody didn't talk about jobs. He didn't talk about businesses, entrepreneurship, because these are considered militant topics outside of the algorithm. So they'll have you feeling pro-black while following a blatant mainstream agenda at the same time. What's up with that, Coach Jay?
And this is very critical as we're talking about fighting the algorithms, that a lot of times they are presenting issues that they believe that we do not have competency in, right? So when I'm saying infant mortality rate, so the average person, brother and sister, may not be versed in infant mortality, right? And not just I might have heard the term, but in order for me to understand the issue, and this is critical, and this is why African-centered education and education that empowers us. Empowerment-based education is critical because empowerment-based education it provides a intentionality on understanding issues at a deeper level, links and layers on issues and constructs that impact us the most. So when they hit you with infant mortality and all and these different aspects, and this is why they got it, this is what they doing to us, and they try to use this fear. If we are empowered and we've been engaged in understanding issues to a deeper level, then we understand what we need to focus on and what we don't need to focus on. We know what BS is, and we know what, okay, this is real stuff that we need to utilize strategically in order for us to make the right decisions about how we need to allocate our votes, our resources, right? So I think that a lot of this is where they are playing into where we are, right? Mm-hmm. And which means that collectively it weakens our ability to have that political power. You know what I'm saying? So every cycle, every voting cycle, they throw out these different issues, and they think, okay, they don't really know. It sounds good, like it's trending, and then they can utilize propaganda to say this is what's happening. But what are the deeper layers, right? That's where the algorithm fighting comes in, black man. You know what I'm saying? And
it's amazing to me. And thank you for that. You know, education plays such a key piece, and African-centered education definitely takes a key piece, plays a key role. And it's a trip because when you say African-centered education, you're talking about political education. We're talking about being educated politically with us at the center.
Yes.
Right. With an agenda that feeds our community at the center. One of the things that bothers me about the algorithm of Black leadership right now is that when they talk about Black issues, they always start with stuff we need to stop, and they don't deal with things that we can start.
Yes.
They always come with the victimization issues, and they don't come with the reach your full potential and power issue.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And that's exactly my point. So strategically for us, when we hear the issue, right, we have to be able to say, hey, no, strategically, this is how we can empower this aspect of our community, our youth, from our youth to our elders. No, this is the issue. And then in those strategic agendas and strategic plans and projections that we make for ourselves, then we understand, okay, these are the issues that we're gonna pay attention to.
Right.
Instead of you trying to tell me what issues we're gonna pay attention to and why we should be scared and why we shouldn't support this. And we have already did the work in our educational development that says this is what we need to do as a people.
Right.
So you can't tell us where to go. And this is what we talked about on Saturday. We leading our own development.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so it's not that we're not. The role of Black leadership is not just to tell white people to be better. It's not just to tell the system to treat us better, right? The role of our leadership is to empower us to build systems, to empower us, like look at the 90s when we went through the crack epidemic, right? Which we know now, and we knew then that the crack epidemic was a government-led epidemic, right? But during the crack epidemic, the biggest issue in the Black community was crime. And they made the crime, stop the crime. We got to get tough on crime. And the next thing you know, this current president, Joe Biden, writes the 94 crime bill. Bill Clinton campaigns on it, right? And they write this crime bill that drops stiffer prison sentences for people who are caught with drugs. That means users and sellers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of Black leaders and preachers was right in line. Yes, here comes this crime vehicle. We got to stop this crime. But people who were screaming, invest in our youth, were drowned out.
There you go. Yeah.
People who were saying, no, we need to own the stores in our communities. Let's get an agenda together that allow us to become the #1 merchants in our own community.
Yes.
Drowned out. No, your problem is crime. And we got to get, first we were saying, get the drugs off the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
Came back, get the people who are touching the drugs off the street.
Yeah.
So the drug users left.
Yeah.
But the drugs stayed.
Come on.
Right? And we in Black leaders, we're clapping for it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think this is critical as we begin to reverse engineer this concept. Is that this is it's like when you get an email to say don't open this email. You know what I'm saying? It's marketing. So if I'm saying stop the crime, well, if I say crime and violence enough in your mind, then that's the only thing you're gonna focus on. But it takes away your mental energy from focusing on the countermeasure. Right?
Yeah.
The countermeasure would be the empowerment, would be opening the stores and more ownership, because when you create more ownership, economic ownership, it creates opportunities for those that were engaged in that life to engage their time into something that would open up their ability to produce, develop, create for their families, for those that they care about. Because the truth of the matter, the brothers and sisters that was engaged in many situations was about, I got to do something. My back is against the wall. The opportunities are low. Well, let's create more opportunities, right? In a way that empowers and builds our community, right?
Any more opportunities in a way to help those who are not engaged defend themselves from those who are engaged in the BS.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but that type of thinking isn't a part of the algorithm. Yeah, that type of thinking is considered militant. It's a trip that you consider militant when you say, we want to conquer our community.
Yeah.
We want to circulate the dollars inside our community. Because many Black communities, especially in the 90s, our communities weren't poor. We just didn't own anything in them. The money didn't stay. Money moves in the Black community every day, but it doesn't what? It doesn't stay there.
Yeah, it doesn't stay. Yeah.
Right. And so we have to look at that today and look at those lessons, those formulas. And I think part of fighting the Black leadership algorithm is really giving so-called Black leaders and those we want to become Black leaders an African-centered education in Black leadership.
Yes. And that's exactly when to reverse engineer this, we got to ask the question: if you were not educated in African-centered education, which is in an empowerment-based context for Black people, if you don't have the competencies deep in your soul that you can for just like when you get a dissertation, you got to defend. You know what I'm saying? What you have put forth. If you can't defend your competency in Black empowerment and understanding the Black empowerment structure context for economically, politically, social, if you can't do it in these aspects, then your ability to be a Black leader is going to be minimalized. It's going to be jeopardized, right? So if you make it in the Black leadership and we're understanding this as a people, we should already know, okay, they're not going to be able to lead at a level that's going to help us our trajectory to reach our full power potential as a people. We got to know that immediately. You know what I'm saying?
And when you talk about those fears, about those fears, what are you fearing? You fearing you're gonna lose a position? Are you fearing that you're gonna be killed like a Black leader in the past? Well, I'm gonna tell you something. If you want to be a police officer, for example, right, you have to accept the prospect that you may get killed. If you want to be a firefighter, you have to accept the possibility that you're going to be killed in a fire. Or don't be a firefighter. Don't be a police officer. Don't go to the military. They might go to war. Right. So if you fear the consequences of standing up for what is right, stay out of leadership.
Yes, that's just real. That's just until you can build your, because let's think about what it really means. You may have the propensity for what it takes to do the analytical work as a leader. You might be able to really think through it, right? But you're not developed enough. It's just like a prospect trying to go to the NBA, right?
Right.
You're 6'10", you're right. You're decent, but you're not ready.
You're not
right. You're not ready. Your left hand ain't good enough. Your hook, you ain't strong enough. All these different things. Just like we look at sports, you're not ready. You're not strong enough. You're not quick enough yet. Your jumper ain't good enough yet, right? We got to be able to look at this in the same way as when we talking about somebody going into leadership on that level. This is a pro level. So we got to, so I think we minimalize it and undervalue the critical nature of Black leadership, right? And when somebody want to be in the position, I want to run. Oh, everybody, that's cool. No, hold on. This ain't, we don't play like that. You ain't
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Are you ready? Let's you gotta go through boot camp.
Yeah.
You gotta go through boot camp.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta go through some things that show that competency, that strength, that that ability, that the proficiency. You gotta go through some special forces. Let's get deep with it. You gotta go through special forces training to get into these spaces to combat the things that are coming against our people. You gotta be a special forces operator, right? You gotta be a Navy SEAL.
Because the thing is, if we uncomfortable, everybody need to be uncomfortable.
That's right.
So I think one strategy we got to throw in the trash is we got to pick somebody that's safe, that them other folks gonna be comfortable around. No, we need to do the opposite of that.
The opposite. That's what I'm saying. If everybody thinking we need to be something, that means we got to do the opposite.
You got to do the opposite of that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of a new course, and you alluded to it, going on a new course, and you alluded to it earlier. Special shout out to the Unity in the Community Coalition in Fort Worth, Texas. You know what I'm saying? And even I never thought I'd say this. Shout out to the Fort Worth chapter of the NAACP.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Miss Williams. Shout out, Miss Williams. You know what I'm saying? Fort Worth ISD School District, man. We had a powerful session on Saturday, community forum, talking about issues related to Black youth and Black education. You know what I'm saying? And I want to salute everybody that came out. I think it was one of the most powerful and content-rich conversations about educating our youth that we've had in that city for years, especially with mixed company.
Absolutely.
Especially with mixed company. You know what I'm saying? And I saw a couple people that are looking a little uncomfortable. They kept looking at the non-Blacks like, you good? Am I good? Am I good? You know what I'm saying? Is it okay for me to like this? You know what I'm saying? But the community has to bring the hard questions to the table. The community has to go and get the experts and bring them in. You can't rely on the system to do that for you. And then the community has a demand that those who the community put in power listen and endorse what the community wants.
Yep.
Regardless of how comfortable or uncomfortable they are. So I want to give a shout out to those who came through, but we just getting started.
There you go. It's just a spark.
It's just a spark.
Yeah, but it was a powerful spark, and it was a beautiful and just a warrior energy in the building, man. And it was contagious. It was phenomenal, man.
Well, the Warriors had the mic.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Warriors had the floor, and shout out to Dr. Stacy Parker Knight. Shout out to Brother Sean Gales. You know what I'm saying? You, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You and myself did our thing. You know, Miss Phyllis. You know, and Miss Phyllis came and did her thing. You know, right. And but that's what it's gonna take, man. And it's time out for trying to think that we being slick with other folk. They know what we want.
Yeah, no,
they know what's on your mind. They know what's being talked about under the big old tree out back behind the plantation. Put it in their face.
Yes, consistently.
Right. If you're right, all those who oppose is wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so, in fighting that Black leadership algorithm, y'all, my commitment is to continue to create safe spaces, right, where we can continue to develop leaders. The Uhuru Academy is one of those spaces. We are raising our children and educating our children to be unapologetic in their leadership.
Yes.
Shout out to Dorlia Wooders, 13 years old, man, was enrolled in the Uhuru Academy. The young lady would hardly say anything, right? After 2 years in the school, now she's in on the West Coast. If there's a reparations summit, she's there and she's speaking.
That's right.
Right, fighting for reparations at 12 and just turned 13. You know, when they turn 13, they don't want you to call them 12 no more. 13 years old, fighting for reparations. You know what I'm saying? Unapologetically. Is somebody gonna come along and try to dumb her down and try to soften her? That's not how you do it, baby. That's not how you get it done.
Yeah.
Come on up here so I can show you how to get nothing done.
Yeah. No, and I love that example, because if we think about it, fighting the algorithm, if we can hardwire it into, because think about how children are programmed. We know the concept of formative years and how our children are influenced in early years. This is why what we're talking about is critical in their educational process, because when they get in these spaces, if it's been organically entrenched in their makeup, in their development, through their educational process, their psychological development, their social makeup, when they get in them spaces, their cultural expectation is to fight for their people. Like I'm wired like that. I don't even understand what you're talking about when you say, "No, we gonna compromise." We ain't gonna say no. We gotta. What you talking about? I don't even understand that language that says our people. Right? You educated when you built in it.
Right.
When you in it, when the seeds have been planted and watered and nurtured since I was 6.
And when it's done through an institution where where the community is getting that teaching,
come on,
right? It brings you into another dynamic of leadership that, especially on a local level, that as we develop the leaders of the future, we got to put this in there. Never go into leadership alone. Never allow yourself to be seen as the leader or the individual. Always be, if you're the face, you're the face, but know that you're a part, always be a part of a body.
Yes.
And do not represent a community that's not going to represent you.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's where that community education comes into play. If people study what's been going on in Jackson, Mississippi, sparked by the late, great Chokwe Lumumba back in the late 90s and early 2000s when he ran for mayor. Before he did that, they spent years building a voting block and a political education stronghold inside the Black community. They had meetings. They were breaking things down. You know, the algorithm right now says, you wait till it's time to run, you file your name, then you go to the community.
I love that. That's a phenomenal point, man, because it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to raise a vision, it takes a village to raise, the opportunity to be in position to fight. It takes a village to
raise a leader.
Come on. And when we step into those positions, and because this is what I've seen, Black man, is that even people that run for these positions, if they don't win, a lot of times, a lot of people just go back to doing what they were doing before. They were chilling. But my thing is, if you lose, you gotta go. You have to engage the community like you won.
Right.
Because everything you said you was gonna do,
right?
Position, you gotta do it anyway, even though you didn't get the position.
So the thing is, you're running for a position, but you don't really have a position.
Exactly. Yeah.
You should have a position before you run for a position.
Yes.
And if you have a position, you're working that position whether you're in office or not.
Exactly. Yep. That's it. It should be understood in your community that that's your position. Whatever that position is, without the title and whatever the description is, we look at the description and somebody read it from your community, they should just say that's you.
Right.
No, that's such and such.
Been on that.
We ain't got to vote. That's him. He is that. She is that every day. Yeah.
Right.
And we gotta let's go out on limb and say, if that's not the case, then you ain't ready. You ain't ready to do it.
I see a Black leader. I smell a Black Leadership Institute coming up. I smell a Black Leadership Conference coming up. I think that we need to have this conversation more. I want to implore everybody out there, if you're an organizer, if you are concerned about your community, engage in these conversations, engage in them on social media, engage in them in the community center, call your local council person, your school board person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, get engaged, and yes, engage in building your own institutions as well. There is no bigger incentive for gaining power inside the system than them seeing that you don't need the system. Because when you don't use the system's not getting paid off of you. Right. And so that activity has to come within the community, and I know a lot of us out here, we scream Black power, we wear red, black, and green, but at the same time, we're letting it isolate. We're isolating ourselves from the Black community at large. That's not what it's for, and that's not how Black liberation is going to be achieved. right? That we have to have a relationship with every institution that touches our community. It doesn't have to be, but not this master-slave relationship, not an employer-employee relationship. None of that.
Yeah.
None of that. No, we walk in power. In every relationship we engage in from a position of power.
Yeah.
Right. Man, this was a great conversation tonight.
Love it, man. I love it.
Man. Yeah, I'd love this time. We got to revisit this.
Yeah, man, I'm
going to challenge us to find us. We're going to invite, if we can find somebody brave enough, a local black leader, maybe a local elected official to come back, and we're going to talk about, or even a former elected officials. We're going to get some people who've been on the inside, people who fought on the outside, and we're going to build a panel, and we're going to come black, and we're going to talk about the Black Leadership Algorithm on the Fight the Algorithm podcast. I think that'll be dope.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Next week, we're going to have a very special guest on the show, Brother Gerard from the DigiBees. He is the director of the Mosiah. And Mosiah is a short film. It's the very first narrative film about Marcus Mosiah Garvey of Amay. And it's making his rounds right now in several film festivals across the country. He's going to be our guest right here on Fight the Algorithm next week to talk about how he's using film to fight the algorithm, and I'm a proud consultant on that film too. So it was cool to see my name in the credits. You know what I'm saying? But y'all definitely want to be black here next week for Fight the Algorithm. All right. Make sure that you go and you support Pipeline to Power. It's in the ticker going below right now. You see Dr. Juichi Bomani, Pipeline to Power. Go to pipelinetopower.com today and take the Pipeline Builder Pledge. All right. Also, they got the IG at Dr. Juichi Bomani, and that cash out $, Pipeline to Power. Support the movement.
Right? Shout out to all the family that has supported already, man. Gratefulness. I'm definitely grateful for that support as we go forward. Yeah.
I say. Also, Uhuru Academy. You can support Uhuru Academy at uhuruacademy.com. Cash App $, Uhuru Academy. We are now enrolling. Those slots are filling fast, bro. They call.
Yeah.
They call. Man, I have one family in Chicago, right? Beautiful family. And shout out to HOR Consulting and the Israels, because that's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Beautiful couple, been together 20 years, bruh. 12 children together.
Woo, they put in that work.
Children, right. Yeah. Last year they enrolled 2 of their 12 in the academy. This year they're enrolling 9.
Woo-wee. They say, hey, all in there.
You know what I'm talking about? So I tell you, slots are filling up fast. The slots are filling up fast, y'all. So go to uhuruacademy.com and check out Uhuru Academy online. Also, if you're 16 and up and you stopped out of school, check out Operation Reconnect. All right. Not only will you get an opportunity to earn your high school diploma, but most importantly, you're going to develop a plan for success that if you execute it, you can't miss. All right. How I know? Because Dr. J is one of our instructors and our life coach in Operation Reconnect. And you ain't had a coach until you had Coach J. That's my coach. So I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So
hey, sharpen each other.
Hey, iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. Hey, y'all, go eat. Go hug your family. Go talk to your ancestors. Go pray to the Creator. Go express gratitude. You know what I'm saying? Go express gratitude for being here and gratitude for the opportunity to make this world better. This has been the Fight the Algorithm podcast.
Keep fighting. Keep fighting every day, every way, every aspect of your life.
Hey, keep fighting, y'all. As my brother likes to say, we out.
All right.